All right, so I am getting ready to cook some lunch. I found another pan the other day. This one right here. Apparently, I've got a lot of these. I didn't realize I had so many. But these all came from my grandma. And the pan set looks to be worth somewhere between 1,000 and like $1,500. It's an expensive pan set. And the only reason I can think that it would be so expensive is because they're so heavy and they're finished. You buy a pan set today and the edge is not finished. It is open, it is out, and if you drag your hand along the edge, you're going to cut yourself. These pans are not like that. And if you're wondering what they are Amway Queen pans. The pans that they have now are called Amway iCooks, and they look to be exactly the same. I don't know why they're calling them iCooks instead of Queen, but they looked exactly the same online, but they're very, very pricey. These are something that I'm not getting rid of in the yard sale because I would never be able to afford to replace these. In fact, I started washing the two that were over there because I'll never be able to buy these. So I'm going to wash this one more time, or rinse it out one more time, and put this on the heat. Alright, I am positive that this pan is clean. I am positive that this pan is clean even though it's stained. There's some staining in there. I don't know what that's from. It's in the big pan too. And I don't know why it's there, but the pan's fine and I need it to cook this food. So, this is part of what I drug out of those boxes, but I did this several days ago. I was looking for something else and I found this little pan, which will be fine for the mashed potatoes today. I think this little pan used to be the cream bean pan for the holidays. Alright, so I'm going to make some creamed beef and vegetables is what I'm going to do. I was debating on cream of chicken soup or like chicken soup vegetables with cream sauce. And I decided I'm going to have some creamed beef and vegetables over mashed potatoes. So let's get that done. And I'm probably going to skip dinner tonight. I really got to lose some weight. And I can't afford the all protein diet that I was doing most of last year. All right, so that's that. I'm going to put some onions in there. I got a few onions left. Now, I don't need a lot of onions with this, just a few, because it'll really give you some onion flavor, so I just need about that many onions. And that will do it. I'm going to use a can of mixed vegetables, I think. Yeah, a can of mixed vegetables will do. So kind of a creamed beef with mixed vegetables over mashed potatoes. And if you're wondering how much of this I bought, it's going to end up being just the hamburger. No, just the onions. Just the onions is all I will have contributed to this meal. Other than the spices, I cannot get spices from the food pantry. All right, so I'm going to cover this up with foil. If I can get to the foil. And I'll be back in a few. Alright, so I think this is done, and I apologize if the sound quality is terrible. My second microphone has walked away. I have no idea where it went. I just spent the last 15 minutes looking everywhere for it. It is gone. I can't believe it. And my other microphone ran out of battery, so it's charging. I have no idea where it went. That is so frustrating. And it's a good thing I only paid $10 for it, because I'd be really mad if it was an expensive set of microphones. It should have been on the table next to the charger, and it is not there. It is not under the table. It is not around the table anywhere. So I'll probably have to buy another set of microphones because I'm not going to be able to do this with just one microphone because you never know when it's going to run out of battery. But I can't believe it's not around the charger. It should have been charging. All right, so this is done. So I can start on the sauce, but I'm going to get the can of vegetables ready. I picked up the salt. It was on the salt. All right, so this one may not have a lot of battery to it either. This one should have been on the charger. But I'm going to get these vegetables opened up and looked at. I have a light shining behind the camera onto the pan because that kitchen over there is just so dark. I'm lucky I found a desk lamp, but really it's slated to be part of the yard sale. Unfortunately, it won't be part of the yard sale right away. All right, so we got some vegetables. I think these vegetables are fine. What do you think? This is just a can of mixed vegetables. I think they look fine. Make sure the can's not dented or otherwise moldy. Nope. Okay, so these are done. And we'll put some spices in there. And we'll start with some pepper. Pepper is really the big spice for this. I don't have any salt. Oh, we'll do some garlic. Keep it pretty mild. Garlic. And I guess some paprika. That'll be it. Don't want to overdo it. I'm going to warm this up for a minute and get out the stuff for the gravy. So that's going to be flour, milk, and margarine. I use up this milk in a major way, so gravy's a good way to do that. All right, I'm going to let that cook for a minute, and I'll be back. All right, so this is getting pretty warm, so I'm going to start my gravy. Oh, I'm starving. It's 1 o'clock already. Last night did not go as planned, and I guess today didn't either. I spent most of today kind of getting organized. We didn't have our monthly meeting for my private client, and it has caused a great big bunch of confusion. So I ended up finishing the 2 articles out of 3 that I did, and the third one, I don't know. I'm hoping they'll pay for it next month, but so the good thing about this new camera setup is that you're going to be able to see me make the gravy today, which I haven't really been able to show you in detail. So how do I do this? I've got the knife on the bowl because I need the knife someplace clean because I need to use it with the butter, but it's in the way because I need to put this in the bowl where the knife is. Need a little bit of this margarine. So we want to melt this. Butter really works better. You can also use, If you're doing this kind of gravy for breakfast, sausage grease works excellent. I think bacon grease would work well too. Lard would probably work pretty well too. I don't know about beef tallow. I've never cooked with beef tallow. Although I was kind of on the hunt the other day and looking to see where I might be able to get some. And so far, I do not know. It says there's a farm about 4 miles away that sells it, that has like a farm shop and sells it, but I don't know. I may bike up there as soon as I can. As soon as my strength gets up that I can bike that far, because you're talking about biking 8 miles to get to the farm and back. And I heard about my neighbor. I thought he was going to get out. He was the guy that kind of got me used to the idea of a trike bike, because he would ride his all the time and he loved it. And somebody told me that they found him about 8 miles away at the state park. So I know it's possible to get out that far on that trike bike, because I know somebody that did it. But I'm not there yet, and he is sadly still in the nursing home. That they say he now will not get out because they found a heart problem, which really is sad. He was very active, rode his bike every day. You'd think that would have done something for him, and unfortunately I don't know how old he is. He's well into his 80s, I think. But that kind of sucked. Oh, and the other half of the equation, aside from seeing my neighbor ride a trike bike, the neighbors next door asked me if I wanted one of the two-wheelers they found. And it needed some work, and at the time I didn't know anything about repairing bikes, so I didn't take it. But the other thing was, I was afraid that I didn't have enough core strength to keep the bike upright without falling. And the other thing about a two-wheeled bike is you need all kinds of safety gear, because you're on 2 wheels. So I would need a helmet, I would need wrist braces, I would need elbow braces, I would need knee braces or knee pads, the pads that go with riding the bike. And that would, I think, get very tedious to have to put that stuff on all the time. Now, I'm thinking I could probably still, use a helmet even on the trike bike, but it's not as much of an issue as it would be on a two-wheeler. I need to get some other stuff for it too. I need to get turn signals and mirrors for it, but and lights. I need to have lights. I was reading the bike rules, and I cannot go out at night on the bike without lights. The bike has to have lights on it if you're going to ride it at night. So, as of right this second, my bike is not legal to be ridden at night. Put some more pepper on there. So I've got to get all that done. I wouldn't mind getting a helmet. I think that would be a good idea. And helmets aren't really all that expensive. I just don't have the money right now. So they were talking about maybe me buying this two-wheeler from them. And I thought about it, and I thought, well, no. I'd really rather have a bike that has a cargo spot on it, and maybe with 3 wheels. Now, so that kind of led me to getting a trike bike. And so far, other than the initial month it took me to tweak it and put it together and get it ready to ride, and it still needs its brakes adjusted again. They're not tight enough. But, I like it so far now that I've got it together and I can ride it pretty much every day. Got to be careful about down hills because of the brake situation, but it works really well, and I'm glad I bought it. So anyway, there's the story on how I got to the bike. But anyway, it looks like my neighbor that used to ride his all the time is kind of stuck where he's at, and that's sad. So yeah, alright, so this is me actually making the gravy, and you can actually see what I'm doing. And honestly, I probably put too much butter and too much flour in here, but I like this stuff thick, so hey. Plus, I kind of want a lot of it, so we'll see. This is my go-to gravy slash white sauce. And this is what we had a lot growing up. We didn't really buy beef broth or chicken broth or anything like that. It was just so rare that we would have any of that stuff. But my mom could make a really good sausage gravy and biscuits. She was really good at making this sauce. And I like to think, oh my gosh, this might be ruined. The battery died. I gotta wash my hands. This might be ruined. It was already boiling. You have to stir this constantly, and the battery died. And this particular camera makes it very, very difficult to change the battery. You have to take the camera off the stand. You have to pull all the pieces off. Then you have to change the battery and put it all back together. It's really irritating. So that is super, super frustrating when that happens. Checking to see how much, how many gigabytes are left on the camera at 25-ish. Alright, so let's hope this didn't get ruined. Because it's only supposed to boil at the end, and it was boiling right there because I had to stop to change the battery. But I'm going to put this stuff back in because I need to finish filling up the skillet with milk. So there it is. This is my creamy beef and vegetables that I will have over mashed potatoes. I'm going to add the milk. Finish filling up the pot. Right there. And I'm going to turn the fire up and we're going to let it boil. And you want to stir it constantly. Until it boils. And then once it boils, you turn off the fire. Alright, I think this is the perfect amount of liquid in this, though. Alright, whoops. This isn't quite where it should be. It should be right there. So you want to keep stirring, and then when it boils, you're done. And I think it is just about to boil. Oh, I thought it was boiling there for a minute. Guess not. So you just keep stirring it. I'm surprised it's not boiling yet. Usually it doesn't take that long. I've got the fire up really hot too. It's a hot fire. It's steaming, it's just not boiling. It is starting to thicken up though. And this should be plenty thick enough. I put a lot of flour in it. Almost more than I really intended. Okay, it is starting to thicken up real good now. It's just not boiling. Oh, there it's starting to go over in the corner. Alright, we're going to call that boiling. I'm going to turn this down, not off, because I still need this burner for the mashed potatoes. So I'm going to put this over on the counter. If I can. Alright, so that's on the counter. And I need to see what I need to do to make these potatoes. I've got a couple of potato packets, buttery home style potatoes. This is what I'm going to make. And I need 2 cups of boiling water. So, first thing I need to do is get 2 cups of water in this pan that I've got. So, I need to tear out this little pan that I've got on my scale. Get it to ounces and put 16 ounces of water in here. Now, I have no idea how much water this pan holds because the pan itself does not tell you how big it is. So, let's see here. I got 9.9 ounces. I need 16. 13. 14.8. Looks like this is a 2-cup pan. 16.5. Close enough. Yep, so this is probably a 2 or 3 cup pan. So much, much smaller than the one I just made the gravy in. I was looking for a bigger pan. I could not find one. I haven't found one yet. 2 cups of water, that needs to boil. Okay, so we can turn this back up. One good thing about these packets of potatoes is usually all you have to do is add water. And you can add butter if you want. Alrighty, well, my bowl is clean and I'm just waiting on that water to boil. All in all, this is a fairly quick lunch. I just should have got started on it a little bit sooner. Isn't this exciting? Watching water boil. Is that more or less exciting than watching paint dry? What do you think? You think that's hot enough? Alright, I think that is good enough as far as how hot it needs to be. I've noticed these potato packets don't open right. They always leave a big flappy thing that tries to get on your potatoes. So we'll just put that in there. I'm sure this is plenty hot enough. I can turn the fire down or completely off. This is the last food I am making. And that's about how fast they turn up, folks. Now I'm going to have to leave this for just a minute so that it firms up and cools off. Otherwise, I will burn myself something fierce. So, the other stuff has to cool off too. So I'll be back in a minute. This stuff has to cool off before I eat it. Alright, so I brought you over to the table. There's the bowl I'm going to be eating out of. Thought I lost my fork for a minute. So let's put this together and taste it. So this is another recipe that is 100% food pantry other than the spices. Everything I used came from the food pantry. The hamburger, the can of vegetables, the flour, the packet of mashed potatoes, the butter, which isn't really butter. All of this came from the food pantry, except the spices. I bought the salt, the pepper, the paprika. All of that is stuff that I bought. You could add some butter if you like. Looks like I did need that knife again. I don't like having my butter cross-contaminated, but there's very little I can do about it right now. So we'll put a little butter right there. And then this is the beef and vegetables. This is a little thin, believe it or not. I put like a 4th cup of flour in this. So this is a little bit thin. Here's the beef and vegetable soup or gravy or whatever you want to call it. I'm just going to put that on top of the mashed potatoes. And you can add more salt and pepper or whatever. I'm going to try it without adding any additional spices. So we'll see if it's any good. It's probably hotter than hell. Yeah, that's real good. And it's going to be real filling too. So that's it, folks. This would probably easily feed 2 people with the mashed potatoes. And then it would probably feed another person just if they just wanted the creamy vegetable beef soup. So there it is, folks. All right, if you liked this video, please like and subscribe, and I will talk to you later.